Hey guys, welcome back. So it feels like so beautiful out here today. I've been sitting in my class like for 3 hours this morning. It was pretty chilly in there, so to come outside and just feel this warm air, it's so relaxing. But you guys, tomorrow is my birthday. Like I'll be turning 35 years old, and I'm like, yesterday was really an amazing day. Yesterday, you guys, like it was amazing because I met a very special person yesterday. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys like the layout of like how all this came to be yesterday and everything, what happened leading up to it. So yesterday I actually had went by the post office because I had to renew my PO box, and I picked up a passport application because like I mean, you think by now I would already have my passport, but I don't. I've never traveled outside of the country, United States. So I plan to definitely do some traveling outside of the country starting 2019. And I figure like I need to go ahead and get my passport. I need to just go ahead and get the ball rolling and just do it. Like you say, just do it. So I did that. I went ahead and picked up the application. I still have to book my appointment. And from there I went to the bank. So I had to get my money orders to pay my freaking rent. Like, as you guys can see, I was talking about yesterday on my Facebook page how expensive it is to live in Hollywood, but I ended up picking up a check. I had to pick up a check for like 30, I think it was like $3,700 to cover 2 months rent. I was like, it's just so expensive. So, okay, I'm leaving the bank, with my check, my application for my passport, in hand, and I'm like walking, speed walking. I always speed walk. Like that's just how I walk. And I think like sometimes I attribute it to New York City, like how I move or whatever. And even my colleague was like, she calls it the New York minute walk. But I think it's more inherited because I think back to my mom, and I remember like some stories my dad would tell me like about my mom when they were together, even though they're still legally married, they're separated. They separated when I was 12 years old. But I remember my dad, he would always tell me like, your mom, like she's always like walk so fast, and like he'll say like she'll like they'll be out, we'll be out as a family, and like he'll be like, your mom is like 10 steps ahead of me, so like she's just a fast walker. And I think I kind of inherited that trait, that characteristic. So yesterday I'm walking from the bank home, speed walking. To me, I don't feel like I'm speed walking, but apparently I was. And I get stopped by this guy. Like the red light had came on, right? And so I ended up having to stop at the corner and wait, to for the signal so I can walk. And this guy was like, you need to slow down. He was like, you need to be careful. And now you almost walked out into the street and it's a red light. And I looked at him like, dude, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, do I know you? Like that's my first reaction. I looked at him like, don't fuck with me. I know how, like I don't know how to walk, right? He like trying to tell me like how to walk, right? But then I kind of checked myself. And I'm like, wait a minute, because he got a smile on his face, and I looked at him, and I'm like, okay, he kind of attractive. And so, um, the light basically was turning yellow, right? On the other, it was yellow and it was turning red on the other side for traffic. So it was like a few seconds before the little white man come on, the little walking man that signals for the pedestrians that it's their time to walk. It was like a few seconds before they actually came on, and I was like, okay, I don't have to wait for that white sign with the little walking man to tell me when to walk. Like I can look and see that, okay, the the light is about to turn red on the other side, which means that traffic, the cross traffic, is about to stop. There's no cross traffic actually in the coming near the intersection anyway where I was at. So I'm like, okay, I can go because there's no traffic. So I went ahead and went out there, and he was like, I noticed like he was following me. He was trying to like start a conversation. So he was like, actually, when we were at the curb, he was like, "Oh, so you got an application in your hand?" And I was just like, "Yeah." He thought it was a job application, but I was like, "No, this is actually for my passport." And he was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "Oh, because actually have a job for you. And I'm like, okay, what is this? Because this isn't the first time this has happened. Like, I've been offered a job by someone else in Hollywood to work on a major big budget film, but I'm just like, okay, what is this about? You know, the first time I actually got offered it, I was leaving out of the train station at Hollywood and Highland, and this guy was like, yeah, you know, pretty much presenting an offer. And he was like, you know, would you like to travel and this and the other? And I'm like, you know what? I'm a full-time PhD student, so I don't really have time to do that. But sounds interesting, sounds convincing. So yesterday, kind of something similar happened where the guy was like, he introduced himself and said that he was a producer, you know, on for several TV shows, and he named some celebrities' names that he's working with, including Tamar Braxton, Nene Leakes, and he was like, I can use some help. And he was telling me like about the role, like what my role would be, basically coordinating the schedules and making sure the celebrities, the talent, you know, is where they're supposed to be. And I believe that's the role of a line producer. So he essentially like was offering me a role of a line producer, right? And I'm like, okay, like that sounds really involved. But I had to let him know, like, you know what? I don't think that I'm going to be able to commit, honestly, because, you know, my first commitment is school. Like, I'm in my third year of my PhD program, trying to become a clinical psychologist. So I just, honestly, I don't have time. I go to school and I see clients. Like, I really don't have time. You know, I may have 2 days out of my schedule to be able to help and support his project. That he has several projects that he's working on. So I may be able to have some time to be able to support, but honestly, you know, I just had to keep it real and be honest. I'm like, I just don't have time. And so then he was like, okay, okay. I can tell, like, he was like, it was something more, it was something else, like, he wanted to say. And so I'm walking, and he's like walking with me or whatever. And like, I'm pretty much walking because I have a mission, like, I'm on a mission, right? Trying to get somewhere. And meanwhile, like, I felt like he was like slowing me down a little bit because he wanted to kind of have a conversation, and I'm just like trying to go, you know, because I actually had to go drop off my payment, and then pick up my book bag and head to my prac site, you know, where I work. Like, I'm like, okay, I really don't have time to be sitting here socializing, but something in my spirit was just like, see what's going on, like, see what he's about. And so he was talking and just telling me like he was heading to his production meeting at the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood, which is not too far from where I live, and it actually was in the direction where I was walking. And so when we got basically close to the street where, like, the area where I live, he was like, okay, which way is the Lowe's Hotel? And I told him it's actually that way. He was like, okay, I'm walking in the right direction. And so then he was like, yeah, maybe we could hang out. And I said, well, yeah, you seem like a pretty cool, down to earth person. And I was like, you mind if, you know, I take a picture with you? Because I think it's pretty cool that you are a producer, you know. And I'm an artist myself, and I'm interested in being, you know, a filmmaker. So I think it's pretty cool. Like, I always find it interesting when I kind of come across, you know, cross paths with other creatives. And so I'm like, okay, he's like a cool person. So he was like, take my number. And I was like, how about you take mine? Like, I don't know, I just have a different, I have a different way of interacting with people. He was like, I had to take my number. So he wanted me to pull up my phone. I was like, no, you take my number. So he pulled out his phone, and I was like, yeah, take my number. You give me a call, and then we can keep in contact. And he was like, yeah. And he was asking, like, he was saying how he has his production meetings, but, you know, he was looking for something to do. You know, he was like, you know, it's really, he wants to do something, right? He was proposing the idea. And I was like, okay, I was like, I have work, but I will hit you up, you know, when I get done, you know, maybe we can hang out, you know. And I'm like, wow, interesting. And so that was that. And that was like earlier yesterday morning, right? It was just like like around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, because I actually went to the bank. Oh, I wanted to be there like first thing when they open. And so from that, you know, I went to my prac site, and it was like a really intense day because I had a lot of training. I had suicide training. Actually, this is where I get this bracelet from, Suicide Prevention Hotline. So we had suicide training. You know, it's very intense day. And then I ended up getting done around 5 o'clock. And so he had told me, like, when I had gave him my phone number, he was like, hit me up when you get done with work today. You know, we can hang out. And I'm just like, wow, like I did not see this coming. Like it's just so random and unexpected, you guys. And so I finished my work at my prac site yesterday, and then, you know, on my way back, I was on the bus. You guys know I take public transportation. I hit him up. I hit him up and I was like, because he was telling me, just let me know, you know, when you're on your way. He was like, I'll be here at the Lowe's Hotel in the lobby area. I'm like, okay. And so I had actually hit him up. I texted him. I was like, you know, on my way back to Hollywood, and we can meet up. I said we can meet actually, you know, at the hotel. We definitely meet in my place. You know, I don't be doing that, bringing people to my place. But so I was like, okay, we can meet, you know, at the Lowe's Hotel, which I felt like it's a safe place, you know. He didn't come off as like a threatening guy or some like creep or anything. That's the only reason why I gave him my phone number, and the only reason why I agreed to, like, for us to have, you know, upkeep this communication, you know, because I could have been like, okay, you know, you are interested in bringing me on board, but I don't have time to commit, and just let it be one and done, you know. But it was something about him, you know, I kind of sense it was something about him and the way he was looking at me. I can tell it was more than he was just interested in me coming on board to work with him and help him with this project, but he was like attracted to me. And not only was like he was attracted to me, but I'm looking at him too, checking him out, like, okay, he kind of look, you know, he's attractive, you know. And so so I hit him up on my way back on the bus, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting close to Hollywood, and then I told him I'll be there in 30 minutes. Bus was going slow as hell. I'm like, okay, we need to, you know, like, what's taking so long? This bus is just, it was like a lot of traffic around that time anyway. It was like rush hour. And so finally get back, you know, get off at Hollywood and Highland. And I was carrying my book bag, and being that I didn't want to drop my book, go home and do all of that, I was like, you know what? I didn't really anticipate on meeting with him that long, you know. I just, because I had texted him, like I said, I texted him when I was close. I was on my way there back to Hollywood to let him know that, you know, I was on my way. And I had asked him, I was like, how did your production meetings go? And he was like, they went very great, it's very exciting. And he was like, he'll tell me about it. And so I kind of anticipated, like, you know, our meeting yesterday evening or / last night would just kind of be like a I don't know, just like a casual type of just getting to know each other, like, real briefly, and him kind of updating me on the outcome of his production meeting. Come to find out, like, it turned into a date. Like, I was like, wow. But it was interesting because being that it was like our first time like hanging out, you know, usually there's like a lot of anxiety, or, you know, you kind of feel some discomfort. But for me, I actually felt comfortable. I'm like, wow. Like, I literally felt comfortable on this guy. And it was like our first day meeting, you guys. And so pull up at the Lowe's Hotel, and it was kind of like a lot of people in the lobby. And, you know, I'm looking for him, and come to find out, it was actually, they were having a convention at the Lowe's Hotel. He said it was, what was it, BMG or something, some type of music convention at the Lowe's Hotel. And so that's why there was like a whole bunch of people there. And so then I'm looking, scanning the room, looking for him, and then I see him. And he was like, dang, you know, he got us like about time, you know, because he was actually waiting for, unfortunately, maybe like 25 extra minutes than what I guess I had told him I would be there, because I was like running a little bit late. But anyway, my fault. It's like the bus, you know, I'm on the bus. I can't control how fast traffic goes, right? So get there and he reached out and give me a hug, and I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I was really excited to hear about, like, the outcome of his production meetings. And so I was like, okay, he was like looking like, where we gonna hang out? I just want to get out of this hotel and go somewhere. I'm like, okay. So we passed by a bowling alley, which is like right next to like the hotel, right? This is like all in the area of Hollywood and Highland. And we went inside, but it was like a lot of noise, and I'm just like, nah, this ain't gonna work because I've been working all day. My brain a little bit fried, just intense trainings I was going through. So I'm like, no, I don't need that in my ears. I don't need loud music like, in my ears. I just kind of want something soothe, calm, a little bit quiet. And so we ended up not choosing to hang out at the bowling alley, and we ended up going. The guy who worked at the bowling alley, he was like, "There's a Dave and Buster's upstairs," and so we ended up going upstairs to Dave and Buster's. And so we get there, the waitress was like, she was like, "Where you want to sit?" And he was like, "Somewhere quiet." And I was like, "Okay, he's attentive, that's kind of like a turn on. I like guys who pay attention." And I noticed that he took note that I preferred a quiet area, and so that's when he let the waiter know. It was like, we prefer a quiet area. And so we ended up going like in the back where it was quiet, away from the games and all the other traffic and stuff. Sat down, and then so after that we sat down, and then the waitress was like, "We're gonna get you something to drink." And I just like, "Yes, water." He looked at me like, "Water, really, really?" But yeah, I got some water. And I told him, I was like, "You know what?" He asked me, he was like, "Did you eat anything yet?" And I was like, "Actually, I just ate. Like before, when I got done at my prac site, I had ate my tuna sandwich, So I was full. My stomach was full. I was not hungry when I met him. But he was like, "No, you're gonna get something to eat." Like he was like, "No, you hanging out with me, you gonna eat, girl." And so I was like, "Okay." And so I ended up I looked at the menu and I didn't really see nothing because I'm like, I'm full. Like, since I ordered something just to eat, just to be eaten. So I ended up just getting a salad, something light. So I got a chicken salad. And yeah. Who's watching, by the way? Y'all mighty quiet. Say hello or something. So I got a chicken salad. He ended up getting some buffalo wings. And yeah, we were eating, and he was updating me on the outcome of the meeting, essentially saying that he got the deal. Like he got his 2 different television shows picked up by 2 different major networks. I'm like, okay, congratulations, that's great news. Like, because obviously could go the other way around, but it's always good to hear great news, So I'm like, congratulations, like happy for you, And he was celebrating with me. What's up, Shanika Nicole? So, where you watching from? So he was, we were celebrating for a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Okay." And so then he was kind of just, we're getting to know each other because, of course, like yesterday, September 26th, it was our first day meeting, like, so we just, spending time getting to know each other, just asking me about my family and, what I'm going to school for and what's my 5-year plan. And I told him, and then, I'm asking, getting to know him. He was telling me about him, where he's from, and I can hear that he had a accent, and come to find out it's a Baltimore accent. I'm like, okay. And so he, Jacksonville, okay, that's my hometown, born and raised there. That's what's up. I actually got to come back and visit Jacksonville pretty soon. I got to I will visit to my family down there. It's been, let me see, when last time I went to Jacksonville? 2015? Yeah, 3 years since I've been to Jacksonville. So I definitely I'm going to be there. Hopefully by the end of this year. Okay, so back to the story. So Yeah, he telling me about him and everything, you know, telling me about like projects he's produced and worked on, and I'm just like, okay, okay, he's legit. And before I had even like met up with him that evening, like I had kind of, you know, checked them out a little bit, did some research, and I'm like, okay, he's legit. You gotta make sure because you can't always, you know, you can't believe everything you hear when somebody just say, "Oh, I'm a producer." Or I like, so I had to check him out, and yeah, what I fact checked it, and yeah, he's legit. It's the real deal, and so I'm trying to remember. So yeah, so like you know, he's just telling me that you know, getting to know each other, and I'm just like, okay, and then. Yeah, I told him like a little bit about like, you know, me staying in Hollywood. He was like how he would never live, you know, in LA. But he's bi-coastal, you know, because he has work here in Hollywood, you know, obviously. But he's bi-coastal and he's always back and forth from LA, New York, you know, East Coast and stuff. And so I'm telling him like, yeah, I've been living out here for a couple of years, and he was like, how much money you paying rent? I told him, it was like, oh my gosh. He was saying how he, you know, he owns his own home, and you know, it's telling me like his mortgage is pretty much around the same amount that I pay for my one bedroom apartment, and I'm just like, okay, okay. So he just gave me some like background history and who he is, making me feel comfortable. You know, he didn't seem like he was holding anything back or anything. He's very straightforward, very forthcoming with me, which I appreciated very much. And so from that, you know, we finished eating and we ended up leaving Devin Buster's, but he wasn't quite ready to part ways, and I kind of wasn't ready to part ways with him either. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling the vibe, you know. So we decided to just do some like walking around Hollywood Boulevard. So it's like, okay, you know, you want to still hang out and go walking. So we ended up just going walking around Hollywood Boulevard, and um, we end up going to. He saw that it was a Marshalls, so it was like, oh, let me go check this Marshalls out because he was looking for a bag for his suit. Kind of found out they didn't have a bag for his suit at Marshalls or whatever, and so we ended up leaving. And as we was going down the escalator, like he stood in front of me like this with his arm. I don't know if you guys can see. He was like, this is like him like this on the escalator with his arms out like that in front of me, and I'm behind him. And so then he looked back at me and he was like, what do you think this? He was like, what do you think that means? Like when he put his hands out, he like stood in front of me and did like that. And I smiled and I was like, I think it means you're trying to protect me. And then he looked back and he was like, wow, that's exactly what it means. He was like, I thought you was going to say, oh, you just trying to be fresh and you trying to get close or whatever. But you know, he was like, wow, I'm amazed. He's like, you're really smart. He's like, you're just too smart. And I was like, I don't think it's such thing as being too smart. But I think that that little interaction right there was quite interesting because being that, like, I picked up on his nonverbal, like his body language really quickly. I can kind of tell that he is that kind of guy, like a protector guy. Y'all know, like, for people who know me and, of course, who have followed my writings, my fictional writings, kind of know that I have a liking to dominant men, not necessarily controlling or like abusive men, but like dominant men who like to take the lead, who are protectors, you know, who are manly men. And so I was just like, okay, okay. And so with him saying, you know, he was like, you too smart. Because I just nailed it right away, you know. And I kind of paused for a minute. I was thinking, like, too smart. Just kind of to myself. Even though I said, like, there's no such thing as being too smart. But it made me think. And even, like, I think back now, I'm just like, sometimes being, like, a female in a relationship, especially educated and being, like, you know, smart, you know, guys can be intimidated by that. You know, especially, like, let's say a woman is, like, you know, has more education. Let's say she has a PhD, and a guy doesn't have. He didn't go to college, or let's say he did go to college, but he don't have a PhD or whatever. You know, I feel like sometimes guys can be kind of intimidated by a woman's education. You know, like their wit, and so. Like I say, it can be an attractive thing because guys usually initially are attracted to women who are smart and educated. But then at the same time, it's like as time goes by, it's like sometimes I guess maybe the attraction to the wit, the intelligence can kind of wear off, or it can get maybe annoying. Like, okay, you just think you just too smart, you know? I'm just like, I don't know if that's gonna be a problem, because I felt like it was kind of a problem in my last relationship, because not that I tried to make him feel less than, but I just think that's how he felt. You know, like he felt like, oh, she's PhD, she's using, look at me, I can't even talk straight now. But she's using all these big words, and you know, here I am. You know, I feel like I don't look at it like that. What's up, Divine? What's up? What's up? Where you watching from? But it's like I don't try to make guys feel that way, but I just think subconsciously like they compare themselves. Like it's like you gotta compare yourself. I'm like, I'm looking at this guy like, dude, I feel like he way more successful than I am. Like shit, I'm just a fucking student in school right now, you know, like I ain't balling. You might think of me like I'm balling because I keep myself up and I put out this image, Fayetteville, Georgia. But I put out this image like, okay, you know, I put up like a professional image, you know, because image is important, which actually, right after this video, shout out to Zetro Publications. Zetro Publications. Is that how you pronounce it? Zetro Publications? But, yeah, after this video, I'm actually going to make another video. North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay. But after this video, I'm actually going to make another video on this whole thing about, you said it's called Zit. Okay. I noticed the lighting has changed. It's the sun, yeah. It's like overexposed. Let me see. It's better. Too much sun. Sun is good. It's like the best lighting, but too much sun can not be good. Okay, but yeah, right after this video, I'm actually going to make another video about this whole thing about fake social media influencers or fake vloggers, this whole thing. I have to address that topic, you know, but as a side note, you know, image is really important. I mean, hello. Some people, you don't get it, so I feel like I have to address that issue in a whole different video. But no, I have to address that issue. It's come up way too many times for me to ignore this whole thing about somebody being fake. So I really have to address that, but in a different video. And so back to this whole thing about being smart. I just felt like, yeah, some men can like be intimidated, feel intimidated by a smart woman. It's like, don't be, because I'm like, dude, you way more successful than me. You know, I know he made a joke about it. It was like, oh, you too smart, and it's more of like he's attracted to this my smartness. You know, that's the impression that I got. You know, he seemed very much attracted to it. But I can kind of also see on the flip side where, okay, it may get annoying, you know, because my language is my language. It's like I can't change how I talk. If I'm conditioned to use so-called big words or fancy words, you know, hello, y'all, I am in a PhD program. What the hell do you expect? I don't always use freaking big words, but it's just part of my vocabulary. So not only that, I'm a writer, you know. I work with authors. Like, I should have to explain this, but I don't know. I feel just like people can be intimidated by that, you know, because some black people, they have their own language and how they talk, which is fine, you know. And then you get other black people that their vocabulary may be a little bit broad and they just have different words they use. It's just like, okay, big deal. As a woman, like from my perspective, like to me, it kind of saddens me that I don't want to say dumb down, but I have to, like, well, how can I put it? What's the right way to say it? I have to be somebody that I'm not, or just change the way I speak just to make someone else feel comfortable. Not to say this issue that is currently going on with the guy that I'm talking about, but I know, like I said previously, in my previous relationship, I kind of felt that vibe, and I know that it is a common issue in different relationships across the board, where you got a woman that got all this education, a man, you know, he kind of feels some kind of way. You should never have to dumb yourself down. Yeah, you feel me what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's just part of who I am, you know, like, yes, I'm Danielle, and yes, I have, you know, a personality, and I may be one way in one setting and another way in a different setting. For the most part, I'm professional because I have this professional image. Like if I'm in school most of the time, I'm seeing clients most of the time. What do you expect? You get what I'm saying? And not only that, but me doing vlogs, I take this very seriously. That's a whole nother video though. I'm gonna come back right after this. I'm gonna actually make another video about this whole thing about fake social media influencers, fake vloggers, and all of this stuff, because that issue has come up way too many times. Okay, let's go back. So that happened. We leave from Marshall's, and then we're walking around, down Hollywood Boulevard, and then we come across some people promoting this club, this comedy club, right? And it was holding signs, this little kind of digital signs, trying to get people to come in. And then he looked at me and was like, "You want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love comedy. Like, I would like to go." And he was like, "Okay, let's go then." And what I forget to say, but what interests me and kind of what attracts me to another thing that attracts me to him is that, like, of course he's playing the game, right? He's smart. And when we were in the Dave and Buster's, he had told the waitress, because when she was asking me, "What do you want?" He told the waitress, like, anything she wants, just give it to her. Like, anything she wants. Whatever she wants, just give it to her. I'm just like, look at Lo. We gotta run some game. But, yeah, we ended up going to the comedy show, and it was a lot of fun for me. You said you can be versatile without dumbing yourself down or intimidating others. Exactly. That's how I feel like I am. Very versatile. I can fit in many different circles. I can fit in or hang out with the hood. I can hang out with, professional people. Like, I know how to code switch. That's easy. I'm black. I grew up in a poor neighborhood, and I've been around, white people and all kinds of people. So, yeah. But anyway, we're at the club, and it was, like I said, I like comedy. I like all different kinds of comedy, whether it's a black comedian, white comedian. I don't care the race, the culture. Like, if they telling something that's funny, like, I'm going to laugh. And I think sometimes you have to understand, like, certain contexts in order for the joke to be funny. And so I'm there and I'm laughing. Like, I won't say a lot. I would say maybe, I don't know, 50%, 40% of the jokes were funny to me. And I think for him, he just wanted to make sure that I was happy. Like, he just wanted to make sure that I was good. I'm having a good time, Of course, he wanted to have a good time, too. And so, like, we there, and I'm looking at him, and he looking at me. He's just, like, making these looks like when the comedian's telling these jokes, and he just like, that shit ain't funny. And I think, if anything, it was more funny with his reaction, like, seeing his reaction to the comedian's jokes. That was more funny to me than some of the jokes that they were saying. It was the whole, like, when I say, like, last night was just a bundle of laughter, it was, because I like his personality. Like, he is funny. He's fun to be around. He's very easygoing, laid back. Like, for me, I think that, like, first dates can be kind of stressful, can be anxiety provoking, because you don't know the person, you get to know them, you don't know what to expect. But for him, like, he made me feel comfortable. He made me feel very at ease, and he's a funny guy. He's likes to tell jokes himself. He's a creative, so I feel like we connect on a different kind of spiritual level. And yeah, I like that. I like that. And so it was just funny because I think I enjoyed it more than he did, just being at the comedy club. But let me dial back because I have to go back. I forgot something. So while we were at Dave and Buster's, I had asked him this question because I was curious. I'm like, why in the hell did you stop me? Like, what was it? Because before I asked him that question, I can get the sense that he was, like, interested in me by a few things. One of the things that kind of communicated to me that, okay, he is interested in me because he was asking me my age. And I told him I was 34. My birthday is actually tomorrow, and I'll be turning 35. I was like, my birthday is in 2 days, so that was yesterday, which is actually tomorrow is my birthday. And so he was like, oh, congratulations. And he asked me, do I have any kids? And I'm like, no. And then I asked him his age, and he told me. And by him asking me like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, he asking that for a reason. He's asking that for a reason. So that gave me an impression like, yeah, he's interested in me. And so from that, like, I asked him, I'm like, I just wanted to, because I'm a very direct person. I just want to, like, get straight to the point. So I asked him, like, why did you stop me when I was walking, down Hollywood Boulevard with my application in my hand? He thought it was a job application, but it really was my passport application. I'm like, why did you stop me? Like, what made you stop me? And then he was like, I'm going to be straight up with you. He was like, it wasn't that you was dressed, in skimpy clothes with a, tight fitting skirt or your boobs hanging out, your legs showing. It was none of that, because that wasn't the case. That's not how I was dressed, and that's not really how I was dressed. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I can tell you right now, it was not that. It was that when I saw you, I looked at you and I was like, damn, you are a queen. Like, this is a queen right here. He was like, being that he is a visionary, he's a filmmaker, so he sees things through a different lens. And when he saw me, it's like he said that my figure, the way I look, my face, just kind of stood out to him. And he was like, I saw how you were walking, like you was walking like you was on a mission, like you had somewhere to go. And he was like, that is what got his attention. And then I had my piece of paper in my hand. So he was like, it's early in the morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning. You got this black woman with these long locks, walking fast, with a paper in her hand. He was like, that look like a woman that is on her shit. Like she don't play no games. Like, she's on her shit. And I just bust out laughing because he hit it on a nail. Like, that is me. When I'm out, it don't matter where I'm going. Like, I always walk like I'm on a mission. I'm always on a mission. Like, that's just how my mind thinks. And even if I'm not walking, I do everything with an intent, because who got time to waste? What I'm saying? My mind thinks like entrepreneurially. That's just how I think. And I've been thinking that way for a very long time. I think it was really honed when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, because I remember there's a slogan in Atlanta, the city that's too busy to hate. Nobody don't have time to hate. People in Atlanta are too busy getting money. That's what I realized about even coming out here to LA. You would think a city as prosperous as LA or as multi-talented, like, you got so many people here that they just consume their lives watching other people's lives and hating. That's all they do, just hating. Like, no wonder a lot of the ass ain't going nowhere. Will always work for a 9 to 5 and just ain't going nowhere in life because they so focused on what the next person is doing, that they can't even get their own fucking shit together. But yeah, I pride Atlanta in that being the city that is too busy to hate. And then from there, I moved to New York City, and y'all know how much on the grind New Yorkers are. They damn sure ain't got time to worry about the next person or gossiping and, oh, girl, did you see this? Because they so focused on their own dreams. Not to say they don't, like, network with other people or socialize. Of course they have socialized and they interact and they talk to people, but it's a different language. That's why I love New York so much. It's a totally different language, totally different vibe. Nobody got time for that shit. The rent too fucking high. If your rent $3,000 a month, you ain't got time to sit up here and be on the phone for 3 hours gossiping about the next person. No, you gotta find out how you're gonna make your next lick, how you're gonna keep advancing. Nobody got time for that. People waste too much time hating on the next person. But that's a whole nother video. I'm gonna come back right after this video and do a whole nother video on that topic. But he was like, yeah, I saw that you was a woman, that you on your grind, you just tunnel vision, you just there, And so he started to slow me down, and that attracted him to me, or that attracted me to him, whatever, yeah. He was attracted to me essentially by seeing that I was on my grind and I'm on my mission, And that's just the kind of woman I am. A lot of guys are attracted to me for that very reason, because they see, I don't play the radio, I don't got time for nonsense. I'm very on my shit, business oriented, go getter, like, y'all get what I'm saying. And so I was like, okay. So he was like, yeah, I gotta say something to her. But then he was like, and then you was walking so fast and I'm trying to catch up. I was just like, hey, you better keep up. Because I'm going. I ain't slowing down, which I kind of did slow down because he was trying to tell me about his production meeting that he was on his way to, and like his project that he needed help with, It's like, okay. So I was kind of slowing down and listening to that, but I'm still like, okay, dude, you better you better come up to my pace. Like, I don't feel like I gotta slow down to your pace. Come up to my pace because I'm actually like on schedule. My life is on schedule. Everything is on schedule in my life, you know. And I was talking to somebody else, one of my colleagues, she was like, "How do you manage to do all this stuff?" I said, "Girl, because I have I'm on a schedule. I have a certain time, like ahead of time. I plan things out, you know. So, like, I plan things out for the week, for the month. I have a planner, of course, but like I have to keep track of when I'm gonna do certain things at a certain time. But the day before, like I'll say, okay, well, I need to go to the post office at this time, go to the bank at, like I have certain times set, and it's being that I don't own a car and I'm relying on public transportation, that even sets even more structure with my life, where my life is very structured according to the schedules for the bus and the train, so I'm kind of fit within those time blocks too. So of course, like, I have to make sure that I'm well organized and I'm paying attention to the time. That's really important. I don't have time to waste and lagging behind and, just lollygagging. Then I'm late to my practicum site. That's going to have a negative impact on me, my image. Of course, I'm constantly being evaluated in this program that I'm in, like all students are. It's a professional program. And we're PhD students. That's just across the board, any PhD program, like, always being evaluated because they're training us to become professionals, essentially. We're training to become doctors. And so, like, if you late to your prac site, okay, one lateness they might excuse that, but if you constantly late, then that's going to be a red flag. They communicate that back to advisor at the school, and it's a whole nother thing. So I try to do everything to avoid any red marks on my record. Like, so far, I've been keeping a good track record in my program, and I want to continue that. And I think that not only that, but it's just, for me, my work ethic and just ethically, morally, I feel like you have to be on time. Like, I don't like showing up late to things, and no matter if it's personal or business, I just prefer to be on time. I think that's so important because I don't like for people to have me waiting, so I don't like to have other people waiting time. Just showing up on time is important. And so, yeah, I was pretty much focused, and he would catch up. He was like, "Yeah, I was trying to catch up, and I saw you walking so fast, but I was able to catch up." And I was just like, "Yeah, she's on her shit." He said to himself, like, "Yeah, she's my type." So I was like, "Okay, that's good to know. It's interesting." So, okay, that was the story that he told me of why he stopped me, when I was on my way to back home from the bank. And so, yeah, we was at the comedy club, and I was really enjoying myself. He ended up getting some, I think it was cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake. It's pretty good. We ended up sharing it. And he just insisted that I have some. He was like, "Here." I was like, "Oh, I'm not really hungry." He was like, "Here, eat some." I was like, "Okay, what's vibing?" And I just felt like, dang, do we know each other? Like, how you meet somebody and they feel like you known them all your life, but you just met them. And I kind of got that vibe from him, like, dang, because we were kind of sitting kind of close, and, touching, a little bit, my hands was in his, and our legs were touching, and I'm just like, damn, it's too good to be true. Like, this is too good to be true. Y'all know, like, for the longest, I had been crushing hard on Dr. Umar Johnson, right? He's a psychologist, and I had even thought to myself, like, with me training to become a psychologist, I wonder how will that fit with me dating another psychologist? Because, that would be an interesting combination, I think. And so, considering that this guy that I met yesterday is, hi Stanley, but considering that this guy who I met yesterday is a producer, I'm like, okay, this is a different flavor, and I feel like it actually might be better because, he's not looking at me through a psychological lens, and I feel like that can be like two psychologists together. I don't know, that could be a train wreck, right? But I feel like, yeah, we probably actually might complement each other. So who knows? So We ended up leaving the comedy club a little bit early because he just wasn't feeling it. I mean, we actually had been there already for maybe like an hour and a half. So it wasn't necessarily early, but I mean, it was earlier than the show. Okay, it was earlier than what the show was supposed to end because it still had like some more. They actually opened up the floor for open mic and it was pulling names out the bucket, you know. And I was like really getting into the show, but he was like, you know what, you know, he wasn't feeling it, and I'm like, okay, it's no point in forcing yourself to enjoy something that you're not feeling. And meanwhile, it was getting late. Like actually, it was good that he said that because I'm like, you know what, I gotta get up in the morning. He had to get up in the morning because he had a flight scheduled early this morning from LA to New York for another production meeting in New York with a different network. I'm just like, dang, this man on his grind, which I actually admire and respect because I'm on my grind too. So, you know, it was in our best interest for both of us actually that we left the comedy club a little bit early. It was maybe like 30-45 minutes earlier than what they were gonna end, and we ended up leaving. And yeah, that was pretty much the night. We ended up leaving before we parted. Like, you know, he was saying how he was happy to meet me, and I was like, oh, I'm happy to meet you too. And he gave me a hug, and yeah, like we actually kissed, not like tongue kiss, but like he kissed me on my lips. Damn, he got some soft lips. But yeah, like yeah. Okay, so what was I about to say? I know I skipped a lot of parts, you know. I know I skipped some parts or whatever because I don't be telling everybody everything. And even my professor, he was like, I know you said you're an open book at the beginning of this semester, but you know, you're not really an open book. You don't tell people everything. And when he said that, I laughed. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because number one, it ain't everything everybody's business. It's just not everybody's business. I do know what to share and what not to share. And I'm going to go more into this in depth in my next video. Like I said, it's a topic I have to address. So right after I end this video, I'm going to go and talk about this in my next video. About this whole thing about fake social media influencers. I have to. But yeah, I know some things I left out just subconsciously, not even really purposely trying to leave it out. Because that's just how people's memory works. You know, human nature. You know, you're not gonna recall every single freaking detail and not. But I do remember. Now I think about one thing that I forgot to share was that, and he had said this to me, and I was wondering like, is he bullshit? You know, is he serious? But knowing that I don't have a car, right? He told me that he was gonna buy me a car, y'all. I'm just like, whoa. Like this guy, you know how something's like sound too good to be true? Like, wait a minute now. But hey, he is a kind of like a religious man. He goes to church, and that was another thing I forgot to share. Like, again, another detail. But when we were at Dave and Buster's, before we actually ate, because I picked up my fork and just get ready to dig in my salad. He was like, wait, you're not going to pray? And I laughed. I was like, pray? He was like, you don't pray before you eat? I was like, no. I was like, I used to, but I don't really pray no more. I just eat, you know. I said, I'm not really a religious person, but I am very spiritual. He was like, well, I pray, so I'm going to pray. So respecting, you know, his belief, I put a pause on it, and he went ahead and started praying, you know, to bless the food, and then we ate. So yeah. But going back to the whole car thing, he was like, considering that, you know, I don't have a car, he was like, yeah, when I because he actually got picked up, so his projects actually, he got several different projects, but his projects got picked up. Two of his projects got picked up by two different networks yesterday, and they sealed the deal. And there were those production meetings that he had went to, and he was like, as soon as they cut the first check, like which he said is supposed to be, I don't know, maybe a month or so from now, that he's gonna buy me a car. I was just like, dude, you trying to spit game? Like, you trying to spit game? Or what, you know? Because I was just like, but that's how it usually is. Like, in the beginning relationship, it's all rosy, and everything just goes smoothly. Everything's just peaches and cream, just all rosy. And I'm like, okay, I know we're in our honeymoon phase, but I would definitely appreciate a car. Don't get me wrong. Like, shoot, somebody buy me a car, I'm gonna appreciate that car. But I mean, like I said in my other video that I made, I was talking about LA Metro Bus Chronicles that I made, the video that I made with that topic. I can buy my own car in full right now. I feel like I'm just trying to save money because I really, really, really am trying to purchase my first home. Like that is like part of my 5-year plan to purchase my home, in New York. And so I'm just in the save. My mind is just all about trying to save, 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 save. So definitely I would be grateful if somebody say they want to do an act of charity and just purchase me a car. Hey, I would gladly take that car. I would gladly take it. Be very thankful for it and take good care of it. And being that he put it out there in the universe, like you put it out there, I'm like, should I be expecting him to buy me a car? No, I just probably just leave it up to God, right? Just put it in God's hands. Leave it up to God. If he buy a car, me a car, hey, I'll be thankful. If you don't, hey, nothing. It's nothing. People say they're gonna do stuff all the time and don't do it. No big deal. But we shall see. I'm kind of believing that he's serious about that because when he said it, and then he's older. He's older, y'all. He's like 7, 8 years older than me. So I'm like, why would he bullshit about that? But hey, who knows? But that's pretty much it. That was our night, y'all. Like it's a really fun night. And just overall yesterday, the entire day, being that I met him in the morning and we had, was communicating throughout the day, and we ended up meeting and hanging out in the evening and night. I'm just like, wow, this is freaking amazing. Like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Y'all don't know. And I feel like this kind of going into my next video, but I have to say this before I end. It's like people don't know a person's struggle. A lot of y'all have no idea what I've gone through, what I've been going through recently, up until now, of course, because I don't share everything. I share a lot of things now. And some of you guys know, like, the surface level stuff of kind of what I've been through in terms of like my breakup with my ex, of 3 years, who I was dating, who I actually moved to LA with, but we ended up breaking up like a year into my program, for whatever reason. Just I've been through a lot. Like a lot of times people don't understand, so they see like, oh, you're doing so well, and that sometimes they become jealous and they little hate comments. But I'm like, I even said this on my Facebook page, like if people see your glory, but they don't know your story. If only people knew a person's story, like the shit that I've been through in life, I think they would be less quick to judge me and be more understanding and just be more supportive of the blessings that are coming my way, because I think I do deserve it. I've been through so much, man. So what's happened in my life, I feel like, hell, it's my time. It's my season to be blessed. It's my season to be blessed, because your girl been just very, all I can say, man, my struggles, my trials have made me very resilient. Hey, and it's my time to shine. I feel like I'm just going to keep rising. I'm going to keep rising. And for people who are positive, I welcome them to continue to support me. The haters, I can care less about the haters. They gonna always be there. They gonna always hate because they got their own shit that they got going on in their life. So they want to see you talk about the bad shit that's in your life to make them feel better about the bad shit. And they like, I get it. That's my whole nother video. But you know what? I'm going to end this video on a positive note, saying that, oh, I'm just so grateful. And I told him this. I was like, I'm grateful to have met you, even though like I was a little bit kind of like, who is you, dude? Like, he just popped up out of nowhere. And I'm like that, I think, with all guys, to be honest. That's just my initial reaction when a guy approached me. I'm just like, dude, you better say something real intelligent or real smart or funny or something to lower my defense, because otherwise I'm just like, don't come with the bullshit. Because I mean, that's how I think a lot of women think, like dudes just trying to fuck, what you up to, dude? What are you really up to? What's behind all those kind words? But other than that, I know some of y'all gonna comment, especially on YouTube. That's where I get most of my criticism. On Facebook, y'all real kind on Facebook, but on YouTube, man, y'all be butchering me for real. I already know it's coming, so bring it. But hey, I'm about to go, and I'll keep you guys updated. I mean, he actually said that he's gonna be coming back to LA in 10 days. He said so. I don't know. I feel like this my next relationship I go into, even though my last relationship, I pretty much kept it somewhat private for the most part. Like, it's not like y'all saw him in my videos. Y'all saw me for the most part, and then he would like kind of be in the background, and he may say he would say some things here and there. But I feel like for the most part, compared to like other vloggers who are like couples, both people are like in right there and front and center. With my last relationship, it wasn't like that. It was just my vlog was me, and then he was kind of more in the background. And I feel like with this one though, I feel like I don't know, I want to kind of keep it secret and sacred, because you can't be putting everything out there. But I want to end this video because I gotta go and do this other video because I got class at 1. So I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video right after this one. Thanks, Stanley. Catch you guys later in the next one. Bye.